Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Sports Vault. Jersey Joe Archino back here. And a simple question to start out: will Cam Newton be the face of the NFL in 8 to 10 years? If you ask Peyton Manning, absolutely. Those were really his boiled down words at Super Bowl Media Night the other day. And it's one of those things where when you look at it, and I don't think that question can be answered until Sunday. I really think you have to watch the Super Bowl to determine that. Now, has Cam Newton had a profound season? Unquestionably. Is he the MVP of the league? There's no question about it. But to be the face of something, you have to win on the biggest stage imaginable. Cam Newton's game is defined by flash and doing a lot of things that we've never seen before. He's probably the greatest athlete to ever play the quarterback position in the NFL in terms of his height and his size and his strength and his speed. We have never seen a quarterback like a Cam Newton. I mean, we've seen the Vicks and the Cunninghams, guys with great speed, but they've never had the strength to back it up, and that's why they were so injury prone during their career. But Cam has stayed up on the field. He has grown tremendously in his ability to understand the game of football. You watch the way he manipulates the secondary of teams, the way he delivers balls in places only the elite quarterbacks can. He's an elite quarterback in every sense of the word, from his poise in the pocket to the way that he commands the line. He does everything that a franchise Peyton Manning, Tom Brady type quarterback does. And I think it is absolutely conceivable to see him. I was on a couple segments ago saying how I thought Russell Wilson and Cam Newton would kind of be the battleground of the NFC for the next 3 to 4 years. I really think when you look at these two quarterbacks, the two of their teams will be poised in position constantly to be battling one another, because the Packers, they were kind of there, and I think that window is kind of on the verge. I'm not going to say immediately, but it is on the verge of kind of closing, and they've really struggled to really get back to the promised land. But I think for the most part, if you want to say a Cam Newton, a Russell Wilson, the battles we are going to see from them, I mean, we've kind of seen previews. This year was really more of a rout, although the Panthers really didn't come out to play offensively the second half of that game, and Seattle really almost made it a little bit interesting. But Cam Newton, the biggest question that it was always with him was about his maturity, about his composure. I think a lot of us are still kind of have a little bit of questions about that, and those will undoubtedly be answered in the biggest game imaginable in Super Bowl 50. But I think for the most part, the hardest transition to make in the NFL, and Cam Newton was totally upfront and honest about this coming into the NFL, was he was struggling with the NFL verbiage, with understanding NFL concepts, NFL defenses. It is like going from college speaking one language and then going to the NFL and having to learn a totally new language. And that is difficult to do. It's difficult to do in any walk of life, totally making a different transition. And it could be frustrating at times because you're playing the same game, it looks the same, you're the same guy, but everything around you is totally different. It's a different atmosphere. The players are different. It is difficult to make a transition to. And Cam Newton, came out in his career and just lit it up. I mean, he kind of made all eyes on him right away. His team wasn't getting the wins, but he was playing very, very well. And I think finally both of those things correlated with one another. Clearly, as his team got better and they put better talent around him, and they finally and then Ron Rivera really, really became a heck of a football coach, then I think the composure, the maturity got to where everybody always wanted to be with Cam. And I really don't have as many questions as I used to. I still think, part of the interesting thing in the story behind Super Bowl 50 is Carolina really hasn't been in a lot of positions where they've had to play from behind this year. So what if they get into a position in the Super Bowl where they have to play from behind? My response to that always has been Gary Kubiak, the head coach of the Denver Broncos, doesn't really have a lot of flexibility in explosive plays with this game plan. He really can't throw the ball down the field, do a ton of explosive things with that limited offense. They really want to establish the tone with the running game, slow things down, take it at their own pace. Carolina's defense is incredibly fast, and that's going to be very difficult to do. And Cam Newton, obviously, with his youth, with his explosiveness, his game is defined by explosiveness. The Super Bowl Bowl always comes down to the big plays that are the big explosive ones, and I think in that regard, Cam Newton and the Panthers are well equipped to deal with any situation, even if they have to play from behind. So that kind of dismisses that, but we're kind of going back to the Peyton Manning comments on Cam Newton, and he also did say that there's no doubt in my mind he'll be the MVP, and that is the case in all of our minds. There is no doubt that Cam Newton is the MVP. Carson Palmer had a great regular season, and I know you're not supposed to take into account anything they've done in the postseason, but how could it not? When you're that awful in the postseason, that's going to weigh on the minds of the voters, and especially with Cam Newton, with what he has done, that is just even more of an addition for him and how good he has been. But I think what it comes down to is one great giving his vote of confidence to another great. Great recognizes great. Great, if you're in a managerial position, doesn't always see it. But I think a guy like Peyton Manning always has the keen eye for seeing another piece of talent. And we can too. The eye test in sports tells you all you need to know. Sometimes the numbers are a little bit skewed. It's always going with the eye test. You can tell very easily who can play in this league and who can't. It's why we all knew why the Carolina Panthers were going to beat the Arizona Cardinals, because the Cardinals had an outstanding roster, but in a game of that magnitude, it comes down to the quarterback. And in that game, only one of those quarterbacks had the potential to win that game, and that was Cam Newton. But I think when you look at the future, where you look at where the game is going, Cam Newton is clearly one of the guys who is going to be leading the charge for years to come. I mean, you look at how many quarterbacks have failed that try to play that way, and a lot of it is when you take the running game away from them, they are not the same guy. Colin Kaepernick is a perfect example of that. Colin Kaepernick, when he came into the NFL and really brought the 49ers to the Super Bowl, all of us really thought this was going to be a really good player. Ron Jaworski basically thought this guy might be one of the greatest to ever play the game. But for the most part, a lot of us thought this was going to be a really talented player. But you take away a great coach in Harbaugh. You take away Frank Gore. The running game is not as good for him. He is exposed for who he is when he has to throw the ball consistently. He doesn't have the support of the running game behind him. He is not the same quarterback, and we see that in great quarterbacks. They can do whatever it takes to win. You just have to look at Cam Newton in the way that he throws the ball, the way that he recognizes defensive schemes and patterns. You can tell very easily when you're dealing with a very good football player. Cam Newton is, and I think you will see it on Super Bowl Sunday when he wins Super Bowl 50. I think he will win it. I think the Panthers will win it. And then going back to Peyton Manning's comment, will he be the face of the league the next 8 to 10 years? You know, people today are attracted to flash. People like the Golden State Warriors in basketball because they're young, they're deep, they're fast, they play fun. It's fun to watch. The Panthers, I think they're such a good equivalent to the Golden State Warriors. They are young, they are deep, they play, their style is attractive to watch. I mean, you just watch the first quarter against the Cardinals and against the Seahawks. The way that they jump out to these leads early, that they establish their tone early, that's a kind of a representation of the way that they play. They are fun. They're going to be the face, and it's going to be one of those things where a lot of younger fans are now Warriors fans because of how attractive their style is. We see a lot of younger fans are Panthers fans now because Cam Newton has a great thing going where he always hands the ball off in the stands to younger kids. He is a very attractive player to watch. His game is fun, and he has fun on the field. And I think all those things really correlate to a younger audience, and that's why the Warriors are so attractive, and that's why the Panthers, if they win Super Bowl 50, which I think that they will continue to grow in popularity, and Cam Newton will soon be the face of the National Football League. But until that happens, Jersey Joe Archino here with the Sports Vault. You can follow me on Twitter at Joe Archino, on Instagram, Jersey_Joe_Archino, and we'll be back very soon.